Chapter 9. Shattered Plans. The days that followed felt like walking through a fog. Thick, suffocating, and endless. Each morning, I woke up hoping that it had all been a nightmare, that the betrayal, the lies, and the suffocating weight of Adrian's control over my life weren't real. But each day, reality sank in a little deeper. Adrian was still out there waiting for me to make the wrong move. Carter was gone, his betrayal cutting deeper than I wanted to admit. I had been a fool to trust either of them. It wasn't long before I started feeling the pressure of Adrian's power. My father began making cryptic remarks about changes in the company. Nothing serious, just business moves that didn't sit right with me. It was subtle at first, but I knew Adrian was behind it. He was tightening his grip on my family, my future, and I couldn't just sit back and let it happen. One evening, after another tense dinner with my parents, I decided I needed answers. I couldn't keep living in the dark, waiting for Adrian to strike again. I needed to know what he was planning, what he wanted from me, and how far he was willing to go to get it. I needed to confront him. It was late when I arrived at Adrian's penthouse. The building loomed over the city, a symbol of wealth and power that felt like a punch to the gut every time I looked at it. I had never been here before, but I knew enough about Adrian's world to know that this was his domain. A place where he called the shots, where every move was calculated, and where I was just another piece in his game. I hesitated at the entrance, my heart pounding in my chest. Part of me wanted to turn back, to run as far away from this world as possible. But I knew I couldn't. If I wanted to take control of my life, I had to face Adrian head-on. I took a deep breath and pressed the intercom. A moment later, the door buzzed open, and I stepped inside. The elevator ride felt like an eternity, the silence in the small space amplifying the pounding of my heart. When the doors finally slid open, I was greeted by a sprawling penthouse, the floor-to-ceiling windows offering a breathtaking view of the city skyline. Everything about this place screamed luxury. Marble floors, sleek furniture, and art that probably cost more than most people's homes. And there, standing by the windows, was Adrian. He didn't turn when I entered, but I knew he had heard me. His silhouette was sharp against the backdrop of the city lights, his posture relaxed, as if he had been expecting me all along. "Juliet," he said softly, his voice carrying through the spacious room. "I didn't think you'd come." I took a step forward, my hands clenched into fists at my sides. "You didn't leave me much of a choice." Adrian finally turned to face me, his piercing blue eyes locking onto mine. "But I have to admit, I'm impressed. I thought you'd run." "I'm not running," I said, my voice steady even though my heart was racing. "I'm here because I need answers." He raised an eyebrow, his lips curling into a faint smile. "Answers? About what?" "About why you're doing this," I said, taking another step closer. "Why you're going after my family, my company, my life." "What do you want from me, Adrian?" Adrian's smile faded, and for a moment I saw a flicker of something dark in his eyes. "What do I want from you, Juliet?" "Everything. Your company, your family's influence. It's all a part of the game." "Game," I repeated, my anger rising. "This isn't a game, Adrian. This is my life." He sighed, walking over to the sleek bar in the corner of the room. He poured himself a drink, his movements calm and deliberate. "You're right, of course. It's not a game to you. To me, it's always been a game. A very dangerous one." I watched him closely, my mind racing as I tried to make sense of his words. "Why me?" I asked, my voice quieter now. "Why did you choose me?" Adrian paused, his glass halfway to his lips. He didn't answer right away, and for the first time I saw a hint of hesitation in his expression. "You're more than just a pawn, Juliet," he said finally, his voice low. "You are the key to everything." "What does that even mean?" I demanded, frustration bubbling to the surface. "You've been pulling the strings from the beginning. You've lied, manipulated." "I never lied to you," Adrian cut in, his voice sharp. "I may have manipulated the situation, yes, but I never lied." I took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside me. Then what do you really want, Adrian? What is all of this for? He took a sip of his drink, his gaze never leaving mine. Power, control, everything I was taught to want. But with you, his voice trailed off, and he turned away, as if the next words were difficult to say. With you, it's different. I blinked, taken aback by his sudden shift. Different. How? Adrian set his glass down, his hands gripping the edge of the bar. I've spent my entire life building an empire, doing whatever it took to stay on top. But you've made me question everything. I stared at him, my heart pounding. What are you saying? He turned to face me again, his expression hard but vulnerable in a way I had never seen before. I'm saying that you were never just a piece in my game. You're more than that, Juliet. I wanted you to be mine, not because of what your family could give me, but because of what you are. The room felt smaller, the air thicker as his words hung between us. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. The Adrian I knew was ruthless, calculating. A man who'd do anything to get what he wanted. But now, standing in front of me, he was admitting to something I hadn't expected. Something that terrified me more than anything else. You're lying, I whispered, shaking my head. This is just another one of your manipulations. Adrian took a step closer, his eyes locked on mine. I'm not lying, Juliet. Not this time. My breath caught in my throat as I looked up at him, my mind racing. Was this the truth? Or was it just another part of his twisted game? I wanted to believe him. That I couldn't forget everything he had done, everything he had taken from me. Trusting him now would be a mistake. One I couldn't afford to make. I don't believe you, I said, my voice shaking. Adrian's expression darkened, and he took another step toward me. You don't have to believe me. But you will. I backed away, my heart racing. What are you talking about? I'm giving you a choice, Juliet, he said softly. You can walk away right now, and I won't stop you. But if you stay, I'll show you that I'm not the monster you think I am. My heart pounded in my chest as I stared at him, torn between fear and the strange pull I had always felt toward him. This was my chance to walk away, to leave this world of manipulation and deceit behind. But something kept me rooted to the spot, my feet refusing to move. Adrian reached out, his fingers brushing against mine. Stay, he whispered, his voice low and full of promise. And let me show you the truth. I looked up at him, my mind swirling with doubts and fears. But against all logic, I found myself nodding. And just like that, I was back in the game.